but never on the live show with us. The Karate Combat World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only, smiling Sam Alvey. Let's go.
Hello, how are you guys?
Immediately showing off the smile.
Let's go.
All day, every day. I'm just a happy guy.
Us too. It's been 15 minutes of mockery so far on the show. So Sam, thank you for bringing some decency to the show. We missed it, man. First of all, how's everything? We are in spring break here in Florida. Are you guys in spring break time, or how's life?
I'm busy 24/7. I got kids in school, but because some kids are not in school, but they're too young. You let the dog in. So I don't think it's spring break yet, but okay. I never know what's happening.
Okay, there we go. I love it.
If the kids don't go to school, you'll know.
Yeah. Well, they all go. Yeah, for sure. Let's get right into it. A couple of fun stuff, but definitely on the horizon. April 2nd, Dubai. The heavyweight championship is on the line versus the legend Tyrone Spong.
What date did you say?
Is it May 2nd?
Okay, I thought you said April 2nd. There's no way there's that soon. I've been told it's May 2nd, although I've not signed a contract yet. So Karate Combat, if you're listening, give me a damn contract.
All right, we'll send that to him. We had President Awesome on like 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about this fight. He was very excited about this fight. The heavyweight division's on fire because another maybe guy, but you're the champ. You're the man to beat. Yeah. How do you feel about?
There's a little difference. So Karate Combat, the heavyweight champ is 205. It's not an actual heavyweight.
Right.
So the belt I'm fighting for is super heavyweight. But Karate Combat is going to eliminate my belt and just make it light heavyweight. And so I'm fighting for the heavyweight. Which
will be the actual.
Actual heavyweight.
Heavyweight, right?
Yes.
Would you want to come back down after you defeat Spong and you're the heavyweight? Would you want to come back down and get your light heavyweight championship?
I'm going to defend both. I am no Conor McGregor. I will defend every belt I have. I will be fighting every other month. 6 times a year, 12 times a year with 2 belts.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Do you feel like with the Karate Combat structure, do you feel like it's easier to be more active than you would have been able to be in MMA, just like the toll on your body and whatnot?
As far as the toll on the body, yes. Karate now, because I fought with the UFC for so long, the UFC has 4 fights a month. I could fight whenever I wanted. Karate Combat has 1 show a month. Hopefully someday they're going to be big enough where they have the 4 shows, and they're doing all the right things. Like I could see it coming in the near future. But it was easier to stay busy in the UFC. But in the UFC, I was hurt every time for a fight. So maybe it's good for me. I fight a little less.
Makes sense.
That's true. What's your take on Tyrone Spong? Kind of a legendary name in the sport for a long time. Has been all over the world. Now fighting you in Dubai. I would love your take on Tyrone's kind of game and what you think of him.
It is hard to find a better kickboxer in the world. He is, I would say, he is the GOAT of kickboxing, of Muay Thai, of striking sports. He is. It's hard to find people with more fights than me. I'm over 80. He's over 153. And it's hard to find people with more experience than me, but he has it. Now, he does not have the experience in the pit, and that does change things. I was blessed with a couple quick wins early as I was getting my feet wet. But now at this point, I know how to use that pit. I train with that pit.
I think that's a big point. One of my questions, 3rd, 4th down, was your transition to Karate Combat has been phenomenal. Did you think when you first was brought to it, at the essence of Karate Combat, did you think you would transition this well, or you kind of have surprised yourself like, hey, I'm pretty good at this damn thing?
I'm a fighter, so no matter what you say, you're gonna fight in the moon tomorrow. So, hell yeah, I am, and I'm gonna win too. I'm gonna fight a Martian. I'm gonna beat whoever. It is the fighter mentalities. You could beat anyone at any time, any place, but after playing in the pit for a couple fights, it's like that pit changes stuff, and it's changed my style. It was the rise and fall of my career in the UFC. Was I always fought with my back foot on the cage. It stopped takedowns. I was really good from there. Once they figured it out, I didn't change as fast as I needed to. Karate Combat with the sloped head, with the slanted pit, it has forced me to walk forward. It has changed my game plan faster than practice could, and I think I've adapted well to it.
Speaking of guys who have adapted very well in Karate Combat, Dave knows exactly, he put the comment up for me, knows exactly where I'm going with this. Robelis Spain has kind of taken the Karate Combat fan base by storm. And we'll be, obviously you guys will be in the same division here at heavyweight. he didn't do as well in the UFC, has done really, really well in karate combat. Is he on your radar yet? And your thoughts?
Absolutely. He will be my first defense. I mean, assuming he doesn't lose between now and when he and I fight. He's had 3 fights and he's been in the pit for 23 seconds or something.
Yes,
It's ridiculous. Just the speed and power he has is just second to none. Now, I do. Everyone he's fought has fought him the exact same way. They walk directly in front of him and stop moving.
Yeah.
I will not do that. That will not be my plan when I fight that man. Each fight I thought, well, this guy, he's definitely not going to just stand in front of him and get. Well, no. By the time the words are out, the guys have been knocked out. So he's looked so good, and he will be assuming, someone doesn't come down and put him in his place, which I couldn't expect to happen. I'll be defending my belt against him before long.
When we first started this, when you talked about how many fights you've had, and we talked about Spong, how many fights he's had. Would you have imagined, Sam, when you started whatever this is, right? It's not just like an MMA career anymore. There's so much. There's big boxing fights and karate combat. And there's so much happening. There's influencer fights that make huge, and there's crossover stuff. Would you have imagined when you got into karate or combat sports years and years ago that we would be in 2025 and you've had this career that taken, all over the world, hopefully make a ton of money? Would you thought when you first started this, that this would be this big in 2025?
When I first started this, I didn't know what the UFC was. I didn't know anything. Somebody said, I'll give you $200 if you fight. I said, all right, I'm in. And that's where I started fighting. So shoot, if I fight 6 times a month, I'll have rent. And so I just fought all the time, constantly. And that's just the way it was. Eventually, I was probably 6-1 as a professional, before I learned there was a UFC and a way to make a living with it. So, I should start training. So I started training. And it was just, I was a band nerd. I wasn't supposed to be a fighter in video games and stuff. I wasn't supposed to be a world champion.
I was a band nerd too. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, what instrument you play?
I was in percussion.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Kind of in band.
Come on, not really.
That's where they.
What band? What instrument did you play, Sam?
Oh, I'm a trumpet player. I was a good trumpet player.
Nice.
I was semi-professional, as they say. I never made any money, but the people I played with made money.
Nice.
And that's the I made $200 to fight, so I said more than I'm making playing my trumpet. So I put the trumpet down, and now I really haven't picked it back up.
Well, I was gonna say, do you miss it at all? Did you would you want to dust that thing back off?
Oh, can't hear.
I can't hear you.
Maybe
let me
come back on. Come back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
there we go. I think he got a phone call or something. That happens all the time. If someone gets a phone call, he's a busy man.
The speaker.
Sean Moody. Hey, does anyone else can you guess L. Dawson's name on her ID? We haven't done this. Come on now. Come on,
we only had 2 guesses.
Here we go. Sam's coming right back on. You
Well,
good, Sam?
Somebody called me. I hit decline, but kicked me off the audio. Yeah.
No worries.
I asked you, have you would you want to go back to the instrument? Are you would you want to dust off the old saxophone trumpet one day?
Don't you dare call me a saxophone player.
I'm sorry.
And be fighting words. I still have it. My daughter's playing now, so I pick it up and toot around with her anymore.
Okay.
I used to be able to play for hours. Now it's minutes, but I can still hold a note.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another good question.
Okay,
you go, El. Ladies
I was
first.
just gonna say, speaking of life after fighting and whatnot, 38 years old now, how many more years do you plan to spend in the pit? Oh no, somebody called him again.
Dude, he's a busy man.
The busy man.
He's a busy
Gotta
man.
give him the do not disturb button.
Elizabeth Dawson, not it.
Incorrect.
Not it.
Sorry, guys.
I could see Sam playing Feel So Good. Dude. Dawson is top notch content from Dawson all the time. Here we go.
There we go.
Good, Sam?
Hey. There we go.
I'm good. Sorry. Okay. Somebody called again, so I put it.
Dude, you're a busy man. People love it. Yeah. Keep going now. What was your?
Oh, sorry. I said, at 38 years old, how many more years do you plan to spend in the pit, and do you have plans for life after fighting?
Like every other fighter that's ever lived, I have no plans for life after fighting.
Hard to imagine, right?
No, I'll run for president. Why not? I like to say I'm at the halfway point of my career.
Love it.
I had a question on TikTok a while back, and I got a good response. Like, how many of you out there think you could still beat the you from 10 years ago? And honest to God, I think I could beat the me from 10 years ago. I think I've changed enough. I've gotten bigger. I've improved in the areas that I was not. And as long as I can say I would beat the man from 10 years ago, I plan on fighting. I'm sure there'll come a,
Good answer.
yeah, I'm sure there'll come a time when I don't feel I could. Like 10 years from now, if I could, God, I'd be impressive if I could still beat me up.
Yeah.
But
Hey, I'm pretty sure Czech Congo was fighting at like 52 or something nuts
yeah,
like
dear
that.
Lord. Yeah, but I just got to get bigger. That's the secret. I got to get bigger. I left the UFC and I got big. Like I'm 245 and I'm feeling great about it. And I'm really enjoying that. So I'm not quite Czech Congo size, but I'll work on it.
That's awesome. Awesome. One of my things was even with Robles kind of in the heavyweight division, we've had names. I remember you were in that card in Vegas with the headline by Pettis and Henderson. Are you intrigued with more names like that coming into the pit, or do you think Karate Combat, the brand, is big and strong enough that whoever's in there and just bring future younger guys in it and just really bring up the band? Or do you need some of these names, maybe with UFC past on the resume?
Anything to sell tickets helps. But the Karate Combat has done such a good job. Now, I like to say it started with me. They were doing well before me, but it was right when I signed with them, they really started taking off, that they started being known. And I like to think it was all because of me. I had something to do with it, at least.
I like it.
uh,
I like it.
um, and the more people that come in, the more eyes that get on it. It is quickly because, I think unarguably right now, you will say the best pure strikers in the world fight for Karate Combat. It used to be K1, it used to be Pride, it used to be IFL,
Glory.
IFC, Glory. It used to be that. Right now, and I don't see it slowing down, it's unarguably Karate Combat.
Love it. Love
I
it.
don't disagree, man. Like I think we had like an era of one kind of doing that with like the Little Gloves Muay Thai. So fun to watch, by the way. Just like always a banger. But like I'm interested to see, do you think Karate Combat, like they have the pit grappling now, do you think they'll introduce more different rule sets in the pit?
I they're pretty happy with what they have. I think they want to stay away from the MMA area. The problem, like the PFL and maybe the GFC, I think the GFL,
Yeah.
yeah,
GFL,
I think that one's going to be big. I think that's going to be huge. But what a lot of these other smaller organizations that are trying to do is they're trying to compete with the UFC. Don't try and compete with the UFC. The UFC is the Goliath. You be you. You do things different. Maybe it'll take off. Karate Combat is not trying to compete with the UFC. The Karate Combat is doing their own thing. They're being the greatest striking league out there, and adding just a whiff of takedowns makes the striking so much more fun to watch. My problem with just kickboxing fights is without the threat of a takedown, you don't have to do a lot of stuff. You can just stand there. With the threat of a takedown, it has to change the way you move. And not being able to keep them down is fine. I love that part because that's the boring part of every fight is when it goes to the ground. I love wrestling. I love all that. Allie, stop. I love all that. But Karate Combat's rule set right now is set up to be the greatest strikers on the planet looking to fight here.
We have another real quick, Dave. We have another on that same topic organization starting this weekend with Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing. Do you feel like that's kind of in the same ballpark as Karate Combat with like a little bit of ground and pound, but not really much grappling element?
We'll see. We'll see. It seems gimmicky, but it's had two shows or one show, and this will be its second one. So everything seems. UFC seemed gimmicky at the beginning. We'll see how it grows. We'll see how entertaining the fights are. Maybe it'll be great. I love their first fight. They had Yoel Romero, I think, headlining it. What a great guy to headline anything. The guy's the most fun fighter to watch, like of all time. And he was just a miraculous athlete. So we'll see how it goes. It's got the potential to be something great. So did BKFC, and BKFC starting to slow down a little bit. And we'll see. BKFC, it started off and it really embraced the WWE attitude. Like it started doing, and I think it overshot. I think it did too much. Now people are looking at it. It just got people flashing each other after the fight. It lost some of the prestige it had when it first started. It does. I hope Mike Perry's doesn't do that. I hope it stays as classy as it can get and it has a unique look. And I hope it stays that. So I'm pulling for it.
Nice. Sam, we have a couple more fun questions, and we'll let you run, my man. Headline in Dubai. Hopefully, contract comes. They fax it to you today, my man. Hopefully, there's a couple extra zeros on there for you. But here's a couple fan questions. They go, Sam, I've lost count of how many kids you and your wife have. Are you done, or are there more little Alveys on the horizon?
Yeah, I lose count too. I think I'm at 6. What we like to say is on my ranch, I have 112 heartbeats. So that's and let's just say my wife and I are taking no precautions. We would be thrilled with another 6.
I love it. That's amazing. Amazing. Another last one for you to go. Would love to hear Sam's thoughts on Alex Poetan Pereira.
I thought his last fight was a boring fight, but I don't think it was his fault. But I mean, that's what everyone says. I think he's a fantastic striker. I think he's a real fighter, and there's not many of those left. And I think he has no ground game, and I can't believe people aren't taking advantage of it. Like, I'm a striker. I'm a karate combat greatest karate kid. I would shoot on him so fast. That bell would ring it out. We're wrestling today, son. And
I love it.
Everybody just tries to kickbox as a very established, very good kickboxer.
Right.
Ankalaev, I think if the rematch happens, I picked Ankalaev to win this one, but I thought he'd wrestle. I think Pereira makes the adjustments and then floors him. And you can even argue he won this last one, but I think Pereira wins the rematch.
I love it. Sam, it was such a great to talk to you. Always been a big fan of you from afar. I think you've done some things under the banner, but I've never talked to you personally, so I appreciate it, Sam. Thank you so much. Cannot wait. Tyrone Spong, hopefully Dubai on May 2nd, we hear.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I just haven't signed it yet.
Sounds good, my man. Hey, have a great day. Appreciate your time.
All right, have a go, my friends.
Thanks, Sam.
There we go. Smile and Sam Alvey.
What a guy.
Stud.
What a guy. What a smile.
All right. The comment section. We love you guys.